From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, March the 19th, 2020. We open today with reports from Israel that a unity deal was possibly in the works between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Blue and White Party leader Benny Gantz. Israel's Channel 12 first reported that Gantz was set to agree to the deal, which would see Netanyahu going first in a rotating premiership. Blue and White's number 2, formerly the leader of the Yesh Atid party, Yair Lapid, and its number 3, former defense chief and leader of the Telem party, Moshe Ya'alon, had reportedly refused to enter such an agreement. So if, in fact, such a deal would go through, it could mean the splitting apart of the Blue and White party. Later tonight, though, Blue and White denied the reports entirely and called off negotiations with Likud. Earlier today, Blue and White filed a petition with Israel's High Court to reconvene the Knesset, which has been shuttered in light of the coronavirus. Blue and White's Ofer Shelach claimed that the Knesset Speaker Yuli Edelstein had hijacked the Knesset, preventing his party's initiative to vote on a new Speaker of the Knesset. Israel's President Reuven Rivlin continues to urge the parties, saying earlier today, advance the discourse between you in parallel with ensuring the orderly and continuous functioning of the Knesset. Rivlin said its opening is important to the citizens of Israel at this time of crisis, even more than ever. And Netanyahu met in Jerusalem today with medical professionals in the Arab sector to raise awareness and urge adherence to Israel's health ministry regulations among Israel's Arab citizens. Netanyahu said of the coronavirus, it does not distinguish between Jews, Arabs, Circassians, Bedouins, and Christians. It simply does not distinguish between religions and sectors, and therefore all citizens of the state are required to take full responsibility and strict discipline. Well, Israel is no longer allowing entry to the country by non-residents. The barring of all foreigners was announced yesterday in an effort to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Non-Israelis had been allowed in, but had to prove they had a place to self-quarantine for 14 days. There was, however, an exception to the new regulation today, a plane carrying 24 Olim, new immigrants from the United States, organized by Nefesh B'Nefesh. The new immigrants, though not Israeli residents yet, were allowed to enter the country with the agreement that they enter a 2-week quarantine. Meanwhile, hundreds of Israelis have been stranded in Peru after the South American country said it would close its borders. Efforts have been underway for special El Al flights to bring the Israelis home, most of whom have been in Peru for their post-IDF service trip abroad. An El Al flight left Cusco, where many of the Israelis were, and landed in Lima this evening to join a connecting flight soon to Tel Aviv. The Foreign Ministry, by the way, has called on all Israelis abroad to return to Israel as soon as possible because of countries closing their borders and canceling their flights as a result of the coronavirus outbreak. Britain's Chief Rabbi Ephraim Mervis ordered the closure of all synagogues affiliated with the United Synagogue, which is the largest network of Orthodox synagogues in the UK. In a letter, Mervis wrote, "These extraordinary times call upon us to take extraordinary measures." Mervis said our Torah obligation to protect the sanctity of life transcends all other considerations. This directive, by the way, includes prayer services as well as educational, cultural, and social gatherings. And here in the United States, the leaders of the conservative movement's Jewish Law Committee issued guidelines regarding praying without a minion, a quorum of 10 Jewish adults. Co-chairs Rabbis Elliot Dorff and Pamela Barmash said this permission of constituting a minion solely online, whether for all prayers requiring a minion or only for mourners Kaddish, is limited to this Sha'at HaDechak, crisis situation, where for weeks at a time, gathering a minion is not possible without risk to human life. The rabbis wrote this permission is also limited to an area where most of these synagogues have been ordered or recommended to close for the crisis. And across Israel today, Israelis showed their appreciation and support for the country's doctors and nurses that are battling the coronavirus. At 6 p.m. local time in Israel, citizens took to their balconies and windows to applaud the medical professionals in the country. Israel's leaders took part as well, including President Reuven Rivlin. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, March the 19th. At 7 o'clock, it's Talmud study. At 8, a discussion of the future for Israel and Jewish students on college campuses. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with former U.S. Senator Joe Lieberman. At 10, daughter of Abraham Joshua Heschel, Susanna Heschel, speaks about her father's work with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And coming up right after this newscast, a look at fashion in Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, March the 19th, 2020. I'm Teisha Bader.